Thus, Dilek, welcome to Tibet TV's program on Tibet support groups. The core group for Tibetan cause, which came into existence in year 2002, is the apex body of all the Indian Tibet support groups. Today, we will discuss its workings with Sri Rinchen Khandru Krimeji, who is a national convener of the organization. Welcome to Tibet TV, Sri Krimeji.
Namaste, Tasdileji.
Sir, could you tell us about the inception of the core group for Tibetan cause and its constituent Tibet support groups?
Well, as all of us know that in 1959, His Holiness came to India. After his arrival, our Indian leaders like the Prakash Narayan, Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, and Rabi Ray, the former Speaker of the Indian Parliament, in Lok Sabha, in the Indian Parliament, they have, they had their first meeting of the Tibet Convention at Kolkata on 30th May 1959, in which I believe they have formed the Indo-Tibet Friendship Society. And after subsequently, the many small groups of societies have come all over the country to support the Tibet cause. And after that, these supports were going on. All these activities were going on all over the country. But it was, and then, in seeing this, 1970, India desk was also been established in Bureau Office in New Delhi, and which was later on 1990 was shifted to Dharamshala and put under the Department of Information and International Relations. And after that, many organizations have come up. But the only problem was that, because you were not doing what A organization was doing, what B was doing, what C was doing, all these things were finding very difficult. So later on, His Excellency Samdong Rinpoche, under his leadership, he found that, to coordinate all these Indian, the support groups for the Tibetan cause, he wanted to have a better coordinations, and for which he called a meeting in Rewari in February 9th and 10th of 2002 to discuss how do we go about, how do we coordinate with all these organizations. And in that meeting, the core group for Tibetan cause was formalized, and I can say that that was the starting point of the core group for Tibetan cause on that day.
Sir, how many Tibet support groups in India are actively working for the just cause of Tibet? And could you also elaborate the roles and activities they undertake in finding a peaceful solution to the cause of Tibet?
See, we have almost about 140, Tibet support groups working all over the country. Our main activities are, mainly we are creating an awareness on Tibet, that Tibet issue, the violation of human rights, the tyranny rule of the communist China in occupied Tibet. Our organizations, our activities are the seminars, conferences, because we have all these organizations are at national level, at the regional level, at the local levels also. So we are in all the levels. What we do is we conduct the seminars, we all even go to the institutions also, colleges, we go to sometimes to the schools also to create an awareness on the issue of the Tibet. So these are the activities we carry out by the Tibet support groups in India.
Many Tibet support groups in India believe that Tibet ki Azadi, Bharat ki Suraksha, and Kailash Mansarovar ki Mukti. So why these particular slogans, and how is India's security related to a free Tibet, sir?
Prior to 1950, the Indo-Tibet border existed, and there was no Indo-China border. And even today also, as far as the Tibet support groups are concerned, we still call it as an Indo-Tibet border. prior to 1950, this border was one of the most peaceful border all over the world. People are moving freely, no visa was required. They were all had a very good relations with with that. And after the China, then we had that Kailash Mansarovar is in Tibet. So Kailash Mansarovar is a big, the faith place for the people of India. Be it called the Hinduism, be it called the Buddhism, be it called the Jainism, be it called the Sikh. They were going freely. They were coming back freely. And after occupation of the illegal occupation by communist China on Tibet, the Kailash Mansarovar visit becomes very difficult. You have to have a visa. You have to have so many, go through our foreign affairs ministry, take the permissions. They will scrutinize. They will, send the delegations, take the permission of China and everything and all that. So therefore, we thought that if the Tibet is regains its freedom, then the movement becomes easy. So therefore, that Kailash Mansarovar is so important to the people of India that we are trying to create awareness among the Indian people that is that important. As far as security is concerned, that part, as I told you, till 1950, the hardly less than even 100, I'm told. I may not be subject to corrections. The police personnel were there manning between the Indo-Tibet border. Today, we have to have so many militaries where the hundreds of crores are spending every day to defend that border. So therefore, if the Tibet regains its freedom, or Tibet is, we call it Azadi, Mukti, and it is given, then the old age of relations, because we have the cultural relations, we have the religious relations, we have the mental marriage, which are very important.
Sir, many eminent scholars, politicians and diplomats have urged the government of India to confer India's highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. So, sir, what is your view on that, sir?
We fully agree with their all these, the demands met by our political leaders or the diplomats or the intellectuals. For your information, I had a core group. I have taken over the core group in charge in 2015. 2017, I led a delegation of the core group members, where Harshit Singh Grewal from the Punjab was there, Pankaj Gaur from Delhi was there, Surendra Kumar from Bihar was there, the Nikosi from the Peljor was also there from ITCO. So I led the delegations with a memorandum to the Prime Minister. And we went to the Parliament House. The Parliament House, and we have given that memorandum to the Prime Minister's office. Personally met then Foreign Finance Minister, late Mr. Arun Jaitley ji, and then present Honorable Vice President was then a minister in the Narendra Modi's cabinet. Met him personally, and we have submitted that the highest Indian honor, the Bharat Ratna, should be conferred on His Holiness, because the world's Peace Nobel Prize has been conferred on him. The United States of America has also given the Congressional Gold Medal on him, and considering, and then many other hundreds of the medals, hundreds of the awards have been already conferred on His Holiness. So His Holiness is here since last 70 years with us, and there was so harmony. He has created such a the atmosphere, environment in our country. And he every time preaches about the compassion, he says the love and peace and all that, So therefore, we think that, because his contributions should be recognized when the whole world has recognized it. His being in India, we are very lucky. His Holiness being in India is very lucky. So therefore, we should also equally honor him by our highest honor called Bharat Ratna. And because we have also, in our Indian history, we have honored foreign dignitaries like, the President of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, and then some other, the international personalities also. So similarly, we are also saying that the highest award should be the honor to His Holiness, or conferred on to His Holiness Dalai Lama.
Sir, recently in one of your statements, you have urged the government of India to have a clear policy on Tibet by making an appeal to the Indians to pressurize the government. So I quote your statement, "This is very high time that the government of India should also have clear policy in regard to Tibet, as the issue of Tibet directly concerned the security of India. Therefore, we appeal to the people of India to pressurize the government of India to have clear policy on Tibet." So my question is, how can common Indian people implement this appeal of yours, sir?
You see, our country, as you know, is a democratic country. In a democracy, the people's voice are the highest and strongest. So, what I personally feel is, our government functions in the democracy. The government functions with the voice of the people, under the pressure of the civil societies. So I am now appealing to our people also that is the highest. It's over a high time. What had happened is now His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, and now the Central Tibet administrations they has adopted a middle path approach, which is a genuine autonomy. And if the genuine autonomy is to be, that has to be granted, then what type of the genuine autonomy, how should it work out, what will be the nature, what will be the functions and all that, a dialogue is required. And I'm saying that the clear policy in the sense that, because now this genuine autonomy is being asked within the framework of the Constitution of the Republic of, People's Republic of China, which means when we talked about this, the genuine autonomy, we are not interfering the sovereignty of the China. Therefore, our people should not pressurize the government of India to persuade Beijing that dialogue should be there, and so that there is a peaceful settlement on Tibet issue, and His Holiness 14th Dalai Lama, with all honor and dignity, should go back to China. That's what, go back to Tibet. This is where I'm saying that I'm appealing to the people of our country that, this is the high time, because now 70 years have gone now. Now it's very high time that we should also raise our voice, and more and more awareness should be created to the people of our country to pressurize on the government of India.
Sir, my last question is about India's security being connected to Tibet's freedom. So how important do you think is Tibet for Asia's stability and Himalayan belts in particular, sir?
I'll tell you, the one most important factor in this, where the Asian, the security or Asian, the effect will be concerned, is, all the rivers are originating from Tibet. And as far as the data subject to the corrections, I'm told, I understand, 1/3 of the world population is fed by the rivers originated from Tibet. Now, China is playing havoc with the rivers in Tibet, taking the advantage of the occupied Tibet by illegal occupied by the China. So, which is also going to affect us and affect our Himalayan region. And they are Himalayan in the sense that, we are told that all their nuclear waste are being dumped on Himalayas, which is already affecting our places, because the deforestation is taking place. There is a change, drastic change of the climates, and then our rivers are drying. So these in the future, because all these problems will have a serious repercussions, not only of the Himalayan regions, not in India, but Southeast Asian countries. So therefore, I am saying that this is so important that this is a very high time that we should raise this issue in the national forum. We must pressurize the government of Communist China, so that they do not exploit the minerals, they do not exploit the natural resources which is available in the Tibet occupied Chinese occupied Tibet, and they should be left so that the future generation is secured.
Sir, with this, we're going to end our discussion here. I would like to thank you for joining our program. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Jai Bharat, Jai Tibet, Jai Jagat.